Okay, so when we last left off, we found this handy clock, and we found some very interesting things about our grandpa. Let's go and talk to Grandma Knight and see what she has to say about it.
Grandma, I have a question.
That's it. Take a load off, hon.
Don't mind if I do.
Can we talk, Gran?
Of course, my boy. How can I help?
Uh-huh. What can you tell me about Heinz Ritter?
Do you know anyone named Heinz Ritter?
Heinz Ritter. Oh, Gabriel, where did you hear that name?
Uh-oh.
I found a letter in Granddaddy's clock.
I promised I'd never tell you or your father, but I suppose it doesn't matter now.
Tell me, Gran.
Your granddad's name was Heinz Ritter before he came to America. He changed it to Harrison Knight legally when he arrived.
Go on.
Why did Granddad change his name?
I don't know. I tried to ask him about his family, his life before America, but he didn't want to talk about it. He never even told me about his name change. I found out one day when I saw his passport in a drawer. Since he obviously found it painful, I never questioned him about it. But I'm sure it wasn't trouble with the law. Your granddad was the best man I ever knew.
Maybe it was trouble with a different kind of law. Know about this word?
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
Schottenjäger? Schottenjäger. How odd, Gabriel. I haven't heard that word in years. My goodness, you've given me a chill. Your granddad used to say that sometimes in his sleep.
Really? Do you know what it means?
No, I'm afraid not. I asked him about it once. I don't think he answered me. Odd.
Oh.
Thanks, Gran. Didn't Granddad ever say anything about his past or his family?
Only that his family was crazy, and that he never wanted to see them again. He believed in some family curse, thought that he could spare Philip and Philip's children from what he called old nightmares. Whatever Harrison wanted to spare you, though, it cost him plenty. He never did sleep well, and he would often get a far-away, guilty look in his eyes. He was wrestling with something he thought he should be doing, someplace he thought he ought to be. I don't know how he could think that he should be anywhere but with me and our child. It's a terrible way to live.
Alright then. You know anything about voodoo, Gran?
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? What an odd question, Gabriel. Of course, you always were interested in monster movies and all that other weird stuff. You get that from your father and granddad.
Yeah, it runs in the
I don't
family.
know anything about
Just
it,
a little
dear. Of course, it was very big in New Orleans at one time, but you don't hear about it so much these days. Too much else in the world to worry about, I guess.
Alright. You're so sweet, Gran.
You know, you get prettier every time I see you.
Oh, you.
Do I get bonus points for complimenting her? Probably not. Nice touch, though. Oh. How about this? Gran.
Does this mean anything to you, Gran?
That one in the middle is your grandfather. Those other two I don't know.
Okay.
Does this mean anything to you, Gran?
No, dear. I'm afraid I don't speak a word of German.
Right, well, I'm gonna be off then.
Well, Gran, I better get going.
All right, dear.
Lots of important things to do. Saving the world, hitting on Grace and stuff like that. What an odd boy, she thinks. Alright, let's what should I say? Alright, well, next. Let's check out the cemetery. There was some stuff here.
The marks are reddish in color and reminds Gabriel of crosses. They look like they've been here a few days at least.
Strange. Let's copy that down for later.
I want a copy of these strange marks.
You know, you never know when you need a piece of brick from a cemetery. How about this guy?
I'm sorry to bother you.
You got something to say, son?
Mind if I pick your brain a minute?
Go ahead. These folks ain't in no hurry.
Tell me about yourself.
My name is Toussaint Gervais. I'm the watchman here at St. Louis No. 1.
What exactly do you do here?
Oh, I keep the place tidy, cause, but a big part of my job, too, is looking out for the grievers, you know. People come to pay their respects, and they need looking out for. Sometimes they so grief-bound they don't know what they doing.
Tell me about yourself.
That's about all there is to say.
I'm also growing an epic beard, of course.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery No. 1.
You know why the dead are buried in tombs and not in the ground, don't you? The water table's too high. Them coffins would float right out of their graves. Them dead would go floating right down into the water. 'Cause if it were Mardi Gras, nobody'd even notice.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery No. 1.
It's a historical place. People buried in here from the Civil War and back further too. Take a look around, you'll see.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
They say it was part of an old religion from Africa, brought here by slaves.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I don't really care to talk about it. I don't do it none myself.
He probably doesn't know much about the whole Schottenjäger business.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
What do you know? Huh, Tim Curry?
Ain't it just awful, them finding those bodies with voodoo things around them? I don't think there's any real voodoo going on. Somebody's trying to cover their tracks is all.
Okay. Thanks, bud.